Hello and welcome back to Bitesized Folklore, the show that crams old legends into small, snackable stories. Perfect for when you've got the kettle on, or you're waiting for the toast to pop. I'm Jodie, and today we're heading to the wild, mist-covered hills of the Scottish Highlands, in search of a creature who's equal parts best mate, and worst flatmate. It's the Bauchan. If you've never heard of a Bauchan, picture this. A short, stocky figure completely covered in tangled hair, with eyes that twinkle with mischief. Clothes? Well, they're usually in tatters. And they smell, well, let's just say if peat smoke, damp wool and wet dog had a baby, you would be pretty close. Bauchans are like a wild cousin to the brownie or the hobgoblin. They live alone in the hills, roaming from glen to glen, until they find a human they like. And like, in Bauchan terms, doesn't mean a friendly wave now and then. It means moving in, uninvited, forever. There is a story from the Isle of Mull about a shepherd who learned this the hard way. One cold winter night, he was trudging home when he met a strange hairy man on the road. Being a decent sort, the shepherd offered him an oat cake. The Bauchan, though the shepherd didn't know it yet, accepted with a big, toothy grin. From that moment on, the creature was always there. Every night, the Bauchan would walk the shepherd home, talking non-stop in a voice like gravel tumbling in a barrel. At first, the shepherd thought it was a one-off. But then the Bauchan started sitting by his fire, draining his ale, helping himself to bread and cheese, and occasionally, somehow, moving the furniture around when no one was looking. Now, it shouldn't be confused. Bauchans are not evil, but they are pranksters. They'll hide your tools, swap the salt and sugar, or move your sheep just to see the look on your face. The shepherd tried hints, and then outright requests, but the Bauchan just shrugged and said, "Ah, but you'd miss me if I went." One night, a storm rolled in, the kind that makes the wind sound like bagpipes gone mad. The shepherd slipped in a deep ditch and twisted his ankle badly. Before he could panic, the Bauchan reached down with surprising strength, hauled him out and said, "If I hadn't been here, you'd be a frozen corpse, my friend. Best not wish away what you can't replace." And that was that. The shepherd still grumbled about missing food and sleepless nights. But deep down, he knew that the hairy pest was also his protector. That's the trouble and the charm of the Bauchan. They're loyal to the point of smothering, irritating to the point of madness, but once they've decided you're theirs, they'll guard you against anything. Storms, danger, loneliness even. Before we finish, I thought I would just add in a little folklore note for this episode. This shepherd's tale from Mull was first recorded in the 1860s by the folklorist J.F. Campbell. It appears in his collection Popular Tales of the West Highlands. Campbell gathered it directly from local storytellers, capturing the Bauchan exactly as it was told in Gaelic oral tradition. Chatty, troublesome, and unexpectedly heroic. Later, folklorists like John Gregerson Campbell repeated the story, but the Mull version remains the best known. So the next time you hear this tale, remember that you're hearing a thread of a story that's been wandering the Highlands for well over 150 years. That's all for this episode of Bite-Sized Folklore. I'm Jodie, thank you for listening, and until next time, keep your bread safe, your hearth warm, and an extra chair by the fire. You never know who might drop by.